Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. We've now become quite used to Easter. The roast lamb dinner is a thing of the past, and we are well into the chocolate eggs. But perhaps the other thing we may have forgotten is what the original Easter was actually like. We know that Easter begins at midnight on Holy Saturday or Easter Eve, but the women who hurried to the tomb to anoint the body of Jesus set out in the early morning, but not the middle of the night. When they arrived, they found two men or angels who told them that Jesus was not there, but was risen. And indeed, the tomb was empty. They could only hurry back and tell some disciples what they had found. The disciples went to see for themselves and could confirm that Christ was not there. It's difficult to appreciate when we know the story so well and celebrate Easter with such enjoyment that the first Easter dawned only gradually on a very shattered, frightened, and disillusioned group of disciples. Then news of sightings of Jesus began to filter through, but could these be believed? Two disciples, Cleopas and one another, decided to walk out to Emmaus. And so began what has been called one of the immortal short stories of the world. Let us read the first part of the narrative in Luke chapter 24. Now, on that same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking with each other about all these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing, Jesus himself came near and went with them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, "What are you discussing with each other as you walk along?" They stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answered him, "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place there in these days?" He asked them, "What things?" They replied, "The things about Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and leaders handed him over to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. Yes, and besides all this, it is now the third day since these things took place. Moreover, some women of our group astounded us. They were at the tomb early this morning, and when they did not find his body there, they came back and told us that they had indeed seen a vision of angels who said that he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but they did not see him." Then he said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have declared. Was it not necessary that the Messiah should suffer these things and then enter into his glory?" Then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them the things about himself in all the scriptures. The disciples recognized the person who has joined them as a stranger, presumably by his clothes, and a remarkably uninformed stranger at that. As they move on together, they do not know him, perhaps because they are moving in a westerly direction and the lowering sun is in their eyes, perhaps because they are so self-absorbed that they are not really looking. This stranger came along beside them, made sense of the events, caused light to dawn, and hope to grow. It has been said that the Christian walks towards the sun's rising, not the sunset. The story continues. As they came near the village to which they were going, he walked ahead as if he were going on. But they urged him strongly, saying, "Stay with us, because it is almost evening and the day is now nearly over." So he went in to stay with them. When he was at the table with them, he took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them. Then their eyes were opened and they recognized him, and he vanished from their sight. They said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us?" That same hour they got up and returned to Jerusalem. We can look back on the people who have been with us on our journey in life. Some may have been lifelong companions, others only with us for a short time, and there are many people from whom we have learnt and drew on their experience, although at the time we may not have valued it as we should. During our lockdown journey, our relatives, our friends, our neighbours have meant more to us than ever before. We've seen less of them than we would have liked, and so rare encounters are of more value. We've learned to depend on their phone calls, their offers of help, their text messages, and all the modern methods of communication which bring people together virtually. It has been a new world. Certainly there has been deprivation and sadness, but a greater value has been placed on relationships. Friendships have become closer because of the scarcity of contact. I have in my possession a Book of Common Prayer, which was a wedding present to a married couple from the minister who performed the ceremony. It has a suitable inscription inside the cover, and the minister has added the text, "And Jesus himself drew near and went with them." What a good start to a marriage. But we all need Christ's company on the road through life. We are walking this Eastertide into a new world, which we are not yet sure of, nor indeed do we know how we shall cope with it. But we can be assured, as we move towards the new day breaking, that the risen Christ is our unseen and constant companion on the road. Those who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. May the God of grace go with us along the road of life. May the God of goodness deal kindly with us as we seek to be a blessing to others. And may we meet our Creator at every turn. Amen.